Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with which I think, fantastic card idea today. This is an idea that Sam Calcott had on her Mixed Up Craft channel on YouTube, and I saw it and I thought, yes, I'll have to make this. And it's so easy to make. You can really reduce the supplies, and with this one I went the whole hog though, because I needed a wedding card and I found I didn't really have many dies or anything, so I'll show you the decoration in a moment. But what it is rather plain on the outside. I just used my punch board for these words here because I only had the wedding, but when you open it up, it has got this fabulous pop-up, and I really like the idea because it is a showstopper card, and I wanted that for this wedding. I will add at a later point, I will add the couple's names there. I'm waiting for some dies at the moment, which I ordered at the weekend, some letter dies, because Craft Stash had an offer on, so I treated myself for £5 for a set of letters. Reason being, actually, I don't know if you remember that, I've lost my 0 from my number die, so I ordered another number die set as well. But I didn't have any wedding related stamps, I found, and I had some. I decluttered them, I gave them away, so I had to be a bit creative, and I found these little mice in my stash. It's not the greatest light here, and I combined them with the champagne glasses here and the champagne bottle, and I decorated the background of these panels with just a mandala die, and I also did that, sorry, mandala stencil, and I also did that with the white cardstock there. I don't know if that's easy to see. So it folds all flat, well, fairly flat. It's got a bit of bulk to it, but then it pops up like this, and I had really fun making this. I heat embossed all those. That was definitely a labour of love. I also didn't have any wedding day stamps, so I just put "Let's celebrate on your special day." I thought that worked really nicely, and I just coloured these in a little bit. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. So I thought I'd show you how to make this. But I have got a little addition to this, just for this one. These panels here, I'll tell you in a moment what size they are. Sam Calcott had those in her first card, but if you want to add ephemera, you don't need to cut these squares. And the card that I'm making today, I'm adding another step here and possibly on the top as well, and then you can't put these flat here, but I'll show you that when it comes to that. So I'm showing you the basic mechanism, then I'm giving you these card measurements. I just realized I haven't written them down, I think. Oh yes, I have at the bottom here. I'll show you my measurements in a moment. But today I'm working with some ephemera. If you've been watching my decluttering video, I had lots of ephemera and I want to use them up, and these cards are great for that. So if you have anything lying around that you want to use up, do that. As a base, because I'm using my sea-themed ephemera, let me just get that and show you. So it's this here, Under the Sea ephemera. I used that recently when I did quite a few cards, so I want to use that up today. And because it's sea themed, I got this pad out. This is from the works. It's quite a few years old. It's 230 GSM, so it's great for building the mechanism. And as I said, I want to use my stuff up. I want to use what I have, so I'm going bold here. I am using a rather large card base. This is a shopboard one. Again, let me show you the packaging. It's this Craft UK Limited. They are my favourite company for my plain white cardstock. This is the 300 GSM as well. It does feel a bit rougher than the one I buy as proper sheets. And they sell it as an 8 by 8 inches, but it's not. It's under 8 inches square. So I actually cut it down to 7 3/4 square, just to have a straight, or sorry, like an even side. You find that very often with shopboard card bases, that they're not quite the size they advertise. But because the card is bulky and I wanted the card to fit into the envelope, I thought it's better to cut it down. Then you need 3 panels to decorate the inside and the outside. So I've cut 2 of these panels here, matching pattern for the inside. It is a top folding card, so be mindful the way you glue this down, but obviously it's square, so it doesn't really matter how you cut it. And then I've chose this one for the outside from the same paper pad. So, and for the mechanism, just zooming in a little bit here, because we've got different measurements here. You need 1 centerpiece, that is. I drew it like this, but it actually is sideways, so be mindful how you cut the design paper again. So it's 6 inches wide by 5 inches. And you need 2 pieces that are 4 by 3 and 1.5. 3 and 3.5, sorry. 4 by 3.5. And if you want to add the elements that I have, you cut 1 or 2, that's really up to you, pieces that are 3 and 2.5. So, and then you need to score these pieces all on the longer length. So the 6-inch piece, I have done that already, I've already scored this, I'll show you in a moment. You score this at 1/2, at 3 inches and 5.5. So I've already done that. Let me just zoom out a little bit again so you can see that. By the way, this time, normally I use my bone folder for that, but today I use this tool here because we also need to put marks down. So I've already scored it here at 1/2, at 3 and 5.5. But then we need to put some little notches here. So this one here is at 1 3/4. So I'm really just pressing this down here at the top, and at 4 1/4. Just show you that. Don't know how easy to see. Sometimes it's easier to see on the back, not in this case though. So it's there and there. And then we turn this round and do the same again. 1 3/4 and 4 1/4. So, and what we then need to do, again I'm zooming up just a little bit more, let me just put my scoreboard to the side. Oh, I'll try to do it quietly, and of course did it noisily. So now we need to put a score line from this mark here to down here. I like to use a little silicone mat just so that I can press in a little bit more. I've got my ruler here, so I'm lining this ruler up with the 2 marks there, and I'm using just this tool again to put a score line there. And then I'm doing the same from here to here. Going across over it again. So, and then we need to create a mountain fold here, and you burnish that. A mountain fold on the other end. It's really easy once you've done it. The middle score line is a valley fold. Oops. So you've got this shape. So, and these 2 diagonal score lines, they are mountain folds again. So I have to open these up again to fold them flat. So I like to press them down with my thumb first, and then I go over them again with my bone folder. So again, on the other side, you pinch it a little bit. Depending on the thickness of your cardstock, might be a bit trickier, but this 230 GSM cardstock works very nicely. So, and when you open it up, you can press these in and create this here, and then you go over that again with your bone folder make sure it folds flat. And then you've got this mechanism here. And you do the same with these pieces. I'll tell you the measurement in a moment, and with the smallest one, which I've just mislaid. So you've got 2 of these here. Let me just zoom in again, just in case you want to take a screenshot as well. So the 6 by 5 you score at 1/2, 3 and 5 1/2, mark at 1 3/4 and at 4 1/4. The 4 by 3 1/2 you score at 1/2, 2 and 3 1/2, and you put the mark at 1 1/4 and 2 3/4. And these optional ones, 3 by 2 1/2, you score at 1/2, 1 1/2 and 2 1/2. Apologies for the pencil there, I was still figuring it out. And you put the marks at 1 and 2 inches. So, and if you'd like to create the original mechanism that I've just shown you, and you want to put these squares in, these little pictures, which are very handy for little photos as well, I thought I might create one where I just put letters. You know, you can put like happy birthday or maybe the recipient's name on them. I think it's a great idea to have those squares, especially for stamped images. Then you need 4 pieces that are 2 1/2 inches square. That is for the bigger piece. And then I had some a layer, 4 pieces that is just 2 1/4 square. So let me show you this again. So I cut the bigger piece in gold and then the smaller one just in the white. And you need 4 of the big ones. Oops, let me just zoom out again. 4 of the bigger ones and 4 of the smaller ones for this design. So the smaller ones are 1 3/4 square, and the layers are 1 1/2 inches square. So again, you need 4 of each. So, but obviously for my design today, because I'll be using the ephemera, I don't need that. So I will quickly off camera stick my layers down on my card base. So it is a top folding card. So this one here on the outside, I don't think actually it's got a direction because it's just shell design. I'll have a look in a moment which way around I like it. It doesn't matter, shells are upside down as well on this one. But on the inside, I need to make sure that I put them in the same direction. So they do go on there with a bit of a frame round them. So I will quickly do this off camera and then I come back and show you how we attach the mechanism. My panels are stuck down, although this one's a bit wonky, but it doesn't matter. So I've got this front panel here on my left hand side, although it doesn't really matter because you're working symmetrically anyway. And I've got the biggest piece here, but I only just realized I made a big mistake because I told you to have the pattern. Let me just show my notes again. To have the pattern running this way, and that's wrong. You need to have the pattern running that way so that it matches the panels here if you want that. I could have turned them the other way around, but my idea was to have the waves mimicking these waves. They don't now, but I'm not going to change this now. It doesn't matter. I think once everything is stuck down. So for the middle panel, you find the score line on your piece and you line it up with the score line on your card base. And I'm also checking that the distance between here and there and here and there is approximately the same. I sometimes like to do it in centimeters, so that's 3.5, 3.5. That's about right. So, and I'm holding this down on the score line on this side, and I'm putting some glue on the flap here. I've just moved it a little bit, but it doesn't matter. For my first card, I used the Barely Art glue, and I saw that Sam Calcott used that as well. But I find this one stays wet a bit too long for my taste. I like the glue that grabs a little bit quicker, so I'm going to use the Cosmic Shimmer glue. So I've just declogged it. It's a new bottle actually, but I've used it once or so and I haven't used it in a while, so hopefully it's cooperating. Obviously not. I just had it declogged it and it's clogged again. And that's the nice thing about the Barely Art glue. There's no problem with clogging. So leaving this in the video so you realise that everybody's got these problems. The other bottle that I had of this was really great, but this one, no, it doesn't want to cooperate. I can take this off and give that a good wash, but I'll use the Barely Art glue after all. I just have to be a bit more mindful now that, as I said, that it stays a bit wet a little bit longer, and that means I have to wait a little bit longer before I can open this up, because it's easy to shift a mechanism if it's not dry yet. I'm going to remove that bit of glue here. So I'm folding this over now and I'm pressing that down. I've got my finger on a little bit there, but it doesn't matter. I'd rather have it on my finger than not folding it down properly. So I'm pressing this down. I can use my bone folder as well. So, and once that is stuck down and I know that it's not going to shift, I'm going to put glue on this side and I'm going to fold that down as well. So you can put your fingers at the top and the bottom maybe when you fold it down. So, and I really want it flat. So I'm pressing this down again, but now I'm actually opening the card and closing it this way, just to make sure it falls into place and folds fairly flat and that the mechanism works. So, but I'm folding it flat again here, just to make sure it's not peeling off. Can also go underneath these flaps a little bit, but now that I know, oops, I just touched my light there on the side, and that makes it a little bit darker, but I know this works fine. So I'm leaving that for a moment before I put the other mechanisms on. Now I'm taking the smaller mechanism, so the medium-sized one, and I'm lining this score line in the middle up with this fold here. So again, I'm making sure that the distance between this piece here and that corner is the same as on this side. So, and same as before, I'm opening this up. I tried to declog this, so I'm hoping this works now. Yeah, glue is coming out. So again, folding this over, folding it flat, pressing this down, also making sure that this doesn't, well, it's supposed to sit sort of right next to it. Let me just zoom in. So don't, make sure it sort of doesn't interfere with that fold there. And then I can put the glue on this. Always find it a bit tricky to put enough, especially on that top thing, but not too much for it to ooze out. So, and then I'm folding it over, and it fits nicely into this triangle. And as soon as I've pressed it down, I'm going to close the card that way again to make sure it closes shut. So, and then I'm leaving this to dry. So I'm doing the same on this side. So lining the middle scoreline up with this piece here, and again making sure it's in the same place. I'll even make sure this time the colour is in the same place, so the blue on this side, and then I'll show you how we attach the smallest piece. It's the same for the smallest pieces, so you align the score line in the middle with that fold there, and again I'm making sure it's evenly spread out. Again, just let me say again, if you want to put those squares panels on, don't put these bits on because I think they will interfere. This just allows you to put a few more smaller ephemera on. I thought maybe even a sentiment at the top, so you've got a few more pop out elements, but you don't need to add these, and Sam Calcott didn't have these. This is my addition. But you see how quickly the card gets together. This one I just noticed I need to probably move over a little bit. Hope my measurements are right because this just fits in there. And again, checking that this folds flat. Yeah. So you see the extra mechanism there. And my idea is to put something here on the front. I say this now before I forget it later. When you do have elements that are very long, so you can have higher and higher element here at the front, but make sure it doesn't stick out when you fold the card, because this obviously moves into this direction. So you've seen how I do this, so I will just add this one here off camera, and then I'll show you how I add my ephemera. I just wanted to show you my original cardigan. So if you work with the squares, you put the bottom ones here, the smallest ones, you glue them on these triangles here. So you put glue here and stick the smallest ones on, and then the bigger ones here, and then you add the top ones here, here, and here, and here. But because I don't want this effect and I don't want to sort of look down on these elements, I think my ephemera, by the way, I've sorted this a little bit here. I've got quite a few of crabs. I'm not sure if I will use all of them, but my idea is to basically throw them on here and really build this scene up, especially as I've got this other layer. So my idea is to have all elements facing the front. So I will add the seaweed here on the side, so you can put some of there, but I don't think it makes sense putting them flat like here. So I really want this as a pop-up element and want these sort of so that you can look at the card from the front. So you can put them on these triangles here and on the front pieces. So I shall do that. I will do this off camera. I think it will take me some time to figure this out. I'm also thinking about putting some of these elements just on the top here. I'm not quite sure yet who I'm giving this card to. I had a gentleman in mind, and I think if I do that, and if I decide to give it to him, I will not use the pink elements. I think I might just go with the fish and the colours that sort of go with this, and might leave the pink stuff for another card. I'll have a think about this though off camera. This came together actually really quickly. I did stamp 2 sentiments, one here for the outside, one for the inside. This is from the Made to Surprise Under the Sea sentiment stamp set. I actually had on my desk just a little scrap of this sort of pattern cardstock with the water bubbles, and I thought that would be perfect. So I put the best fishes on the front, added a few ephemera here. I have got quite a few pieces left here, but they are mostly the orange, yellow and pink, so I think I will make another sea themed card in that sort of colour scheme, and I ditched the treasure box. I just don't like it, so I got rid of that. So, but yeah, this is the outside and this is the inside, and I really love that. So one little tip I hadn't thought about, well, two little tips actually. When you stick the ephemera down, make sure you don't get too close to the fold line, because that can hinder the mechanism to fold flat. So always raise them up a little bit. I forgot that with these pieces here. And obviously the other thing is, only put glue where you actually stick them down. So don't put glue all over and then find this has got nothing to be stuck on. So yeah, that's something to be mindful of. So I did put a few pieces of ephemera here on the back. I even put the ray here coming like out of a cave there. And yeah, it's a bit of a mix and match of the ephemera designs. Some have got the black eyes, some fish, and some have got, you know, a bit of a different shade, but I like that. And I try to put the algae and the plants here on the side, and then the smaller pieces in the front, and the larger ones sort of was the idea to put in the back. But this, I just had a bigger group of ephemera. But I think this looks really lovely and very cheerful. So I think I could give that to somebody who's in his 80s. I think this would be really cheerful. Oh, that's the other sentiment. Swimming by to wish you happy birthday. I think this is really lovely. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with my addition. Obviously, the addition of these two pieces here gives some more bulk. You can see that here, but I'm going to hand deliver that, and I'm sure this will still fit into the 8x8 envelope, especially as I have cut it down a little bit. Yeah, but I think this is great. A really easy, fun fold that is, yeah, a proper showstopper and a good way to use my ephemera. Oh, by the way, I put one piece down here on this element here. My idea is to look at this from the front, but you could obviously decorate the larger areas here as well. I decided not to. I was even contemplating whether you could make two more of the little ones and put them on the fronts here. I think you could, but again, it would be more bulk, so I think it might not be advisable. But yeah, I think this is really a fun card. Yeah, and if you like this one too, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video. And I don't know if I mentioned that, I will link Sam Calcott's videos below. She did these in a few different sizes, so I definitely want to give her credit for this one. See you soon.